What's going on out there, everybody? My name is Ray, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a look at my pressure washing rig, the equipment, the setup that I use, how I use that stuff, and I'm also going to give you a look at the rig that I started with 1 year ago to get my foot in the door for under $2,000. So check it out. All right, fellas, so let's take a look at this rig real quick. Now, before I go into, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna make this video at all about like, you know, trailer setup versus truck setup or whatever. You know, I chose to go with an open trailer setup, and I'll tell you the reasons why real quick. The open trailer, I don't like worrying about moisture problems. I like the accessibility of being able to get into the trailer and work on things and get to things. I also like to display the equipment. I just feel like sometimes that really sets me apart from guys that have everything hidden away. I can't tell you how many times the customers, I felt like I got the job because they were so impressed with the rig, and I've actually even been told that before. So I like the open trailer setup. If your equipment's subpar, or you know, you have other issues with the trailer setup, it might be best to do a box truck or something. But the other reason I didn't want to have to worry about chemical spills getting in the bed of the truck and then causing the undercarriage to rust out. So anyway, so let's get into the actual stuff on the trailer. Now, I went with a trailer builder here local and told him what I wanted, that I needed a ladder rack welded with a brace to support the weight of the reels, and he hooked me up. I got a good deal on the trailer and started piecing all this together. Now, from right to left, I keep a milk crate with some pump up sprayers there. When I like to keep all my gutter brightening, my rust removal, masonry detergent, whatever it is, I like to have some of that stuff already made up, so I'm not trying to mix up chemicals in the middle of the job. I like to do that all at one time, and then when I'm out to do a job, I'm doing the job and not getting disrupted with other stuff. I can focus on the quality of the cleaning. So beside that, I keep a 15-gallon carboy that I use to downstream out of. That's all I use this for. I don't like putting soap or diluting down my bleach tank, so I keep a separate tank to downstream out of when I choose to downstream. Above that, this is a Titan hose reel. I ended up going with the Titan Cranks hose reels. I didn't want to go with the electric yet. I didn't feel like I was big time enough for all that, but it's definitely in the crosshairs after this year. I like to use a downstream bypass to get the power back to my surface cleaner when I want to switch the soap on and off in the middle of a job, because I just run the one unit. So those work good. Now, if you have a hose reel and you are using one of these downstream bypasses and you're getting a really loud scream or screeching noise coming from this manifold, you can add you a small whip line. If you add a whip line of just a couple feet and put that between here and the injector, it'll quiet down that manifold. So I do that. Below that, I keep a 12-volt pump that's just bolted on here, and I use this to transfer my SH. So when I go and pick up some drums in the truck, I'll come over here, hook up to this, throw the drop stick in, and transfer my SH that way. Beside that is my soft wash system from Sean Hodges over at Team Wash Life. It's been a great setup. It's made me a good bit of money. 12-volt pump, blend manifold system, battery charger, and everything you need to soft wash some roofs and whatever else you want to soft wash, houses. I'm not going to go into all the different surfactants. I plan on doing a chemical lineup video soon, so definitely check back or subscribe so you get the notification for when I do the chemical lineup. I've got several I want to go into detail on, but besides that, I keep all of my chemicals here. It just rained a little bit ago. But I keep all the different chemicals that I need, the surfactants, the rust stuff, gutter brightening, all that stays in there, graffiti removal. And if I need that, it's there. The other container I use for miscellaneous parts is the X-Jet in there, different guns, nozzles, injectors, things like that. Another hose reel with Flexzilla hose on there, and then another hose reel with the soft wash hose on there with the gun. running a 200-gallon buffer tank, which is plenty for me. I didn't want to go with the big, huge tank. I didn't see a purpose for it. I don't plan on bringing water. If it's a big enough project, I'll rent a water truck. But 55-gallon bleach tank behind that. And to wrap up this side, there I keep a sludge sucker here for when I need to pump out some water that may have pooled up on the job. So that's the video or the portion for this side of the trailer. All right, so here's a quick look at the front. Pretty simple. I run a 20-inch surface cleaner. This is just your general pump style surface cleaner. I use that for a lot of tight spaces. I keep a 5-gallon bucket with like my drum wrench and a couple of pairs of channel locks, some WD-40, stuff like that up front here. And then the unit itself, this unit that I decided to go with, and I'll show you the unit that I started with, which led me to this one, or paid for this one. But this is the Pressure Pro skid. It's got the hot water burner on there, 3,000 PSI, 8 gallon a minute with the electric start. So that's a look at the machine that I'm running. Pretty happy with that so far. And the last side, we'll take a look at this real quick. The only thing that's on this side that we didn't see from the other end is a 7-gallon soap tank down here. Some guys say that you need the big giant soap tanks. That's 7 gallon, man. That thing lasts for quite some time. My brushes, I keep up here, you know, an extendable brush for doing gutter brightening. I like to keep a deck brush for doing wood, a big broom, a big squeegee, of course the ladder. And this is the other surface cleaner I use for when I, get some larger flat work jobs. And this is a Whisper Wash little big guy, 24-inch, and I'm really happy with this surface cleaner. It does a great job. So, and the last thing, let me see if I can move the camera here. I have a little do-it-yourself pump ups. Well, it's not a pump up sprayer. I got tired of the pump up sprayers, and what I was coming across is when I needed to spray rust removal or get big jobs where there was a lot of rust at the base, I went and come up with this, and all I did was put I think it's a 1.5 gallon a minute pump on there and rigged up a Milwaukee battery adapter and wired it to the pump and dropped the drop stick down in that tank. And I have a soft wash gun hooked on the other side, so I can do real large rust removal jobs quick. Or the same for if you want to spray the NMD80 and do some post-construction cleanup or some red clay removal. So that's a great option to save you a lot of time. But all right, so that's the setup. Now let's go take a look real quick at what I started with. All right, so this is it, fellas. This is the rig that I started with. Now I want to show this to anyone that's thinking about getting started or that's just not getting started and maybe discouraged. This is what I started with, and I was able to pay for the rig that I just showed you as a result of this exact setup. So definitely keep on pushing, and you can definitely do it 100%, no doubt. What you see here is this is a Pressure Pro, or they call it a Pressure Pro, but it's a 4 gallon a minute, 4,000 PSI belt driven unit. I paid $1,500 for this. You can get them through, all the different websites. I'm not gonna sit here and start endorsing people, but I bought this one from the Power Wash store, from Aaron Ritchie down there. Great guy, by the way. But anyhow, I started out with this and then bought 100 feet of high pressure hose and 100 feet of garden hose. Started with those two, got a 5 gallon bucket, an injector, and some soaps. Started getting a few jobs, and when I got the first few jobs done, I took that money and invested in the hose reels. Now these are Cox reels. You can get them for about $130 on Amazon. And I ended up going with 2 of the Cox reels to put my hoses on. Once I made a couple more, some more revenue, I took that money and reinvested it again. And this time I decided to add the buffer tank, a 35 gallon buffer tank, and plumb it in. That way I didn't have to worry about low water pressure or burning my pump up when the customers were wanting to talk to me and I'm off the trigger. You know, you can't let the water heat up in those pumps or it'll burn them up. So I had to do something about that problem. Installed a buffer tank, and I also had the money to go ahead and buy a 25-gallon tank, and all I did was put a 12-volt pump on the top of it and did a do-it-yourself roof pump. My boy Ben Hill over at WC Wash Pros, he's got a great video on how to build a cheap do-it-yourself roof pump, and it's basically the exact same thing that I did. Put a 12-volt pump on top of the 25-gallon tank and bought 200 feet of some chemical hose, and I was soft washing roofs and doing some roof cleaning. So adding that service as quick as possible is a good thing. And I rolled with that exact setup that I just explained to you. That is the setup that I used for over half of the year, or let's say for about 4 months before I started to upgrade. But that's a full-blown exterior cleaning business, guys. Is it harder? Does it take longer? Yes. Does it suck rolling those hoses up? Yes. Do you look a little low budget? Yeah, compared to the big dogs, but they started the same way. Unless daddy hooked them up or whatever, the grandpa left them something. I don't know, but what I can tell you is you don't have to have a huge rig to get started. If you don't have a limited amount of money for $2,000 or even less if you really go on the grind, but for $2,000 you can get a legitimate setup to get started. So anyway, that's the end of the video for my setup. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to the page. That way I know that people are enjoying the content. If not, you know, I'll just probably end up doing a personal log. But if you guys are enjoying the content, like and subscribe, please. And as always, keep on hustling, keep on grinding, shining like a diamond. We'll check y'all later.